Morning, sweetheart. So we have to transplant a few things. We have tomatoes that need to be transplanted. We have peppers that need to be transplanted. We have some basil that needs to be transplanted. And we have some lettuce that needs to be transplanted today. And then look how big my cucumbers are getting. Look at that. That one's all the way down there. Good morning. How you guys doing? Hope you're having an awesome Saturday. It's mid-February. I don't even know the date today. 2023. So we're in a greenhouse. As you can see, we're going to be doing greenhouse stuff basically till I would say mid-May. So today's project, we're going to be transplanting some of my Genovese basil from the little cells, little ones right there, into their forever homes for the rest of the winter. Okay, they're, I don't know, what are these, 1 gallon? So I've already got potting soil in there. It's already been fertilized and it's already been pre-moistened, because you don't want to plant into dry soil, right? We've all talked about this already. It's hydrophobic, it doesn't absorb moisture. You want to pre-moisten your soil, toss it really good. You don't want it wet, but you definitely don't want it dry, okay? So these little basils here, okay, we got lettuce in the center. They weren't very happy. They were starting to lose color a little bit. See if you guys can see there. I'll get you a better picture in a second. I'll flip the camera around and you guys can see. I thought that maybe I had overwatered them or underwatered them, because it's pretty hard with these little tiny cells to keep the moisture kind of right in that sweet spot, right? Especially when they're under that great big light, which just dumps heat. So I thought maybe, you know, they'd run out of food, fertilizer in there, or, you know, there was moisture problems with the soil, whatever. But upon closer look, about 10 minutes ago, I realized that somehow I have spider mites all in my basil. And I have no idea how I got spider mites in here. I have no clue. But we had this problem last winter. I lost peppers because of it. I lost other seedlings because of it. So I, last year, went out and I bought some safers. Okay? This stuff will absolutely nuke those spider mites. So step one, we're going to transplant those little basil into these pots. And then secondly, after we transplant them, we're going to spray them down with the safers. And when you're using a spray like that, actually, you know what? We're going to spray it before we transplant, because once we transplant them, I'm going to have a hard time turning the pots around to get all the angles, because when you're spraying, especially for like spider mites, you have to get underneath the leaves, right? Because the spider mites, they make webs and nests all over the plant, and I'm not going to be able to do it once they're in there. So what do you say we start with just nuking the shit out of these spider mites, because I've already lost one basil and another one is fading out pretty fast. Because if you don't know, what happens is the spider mites, they've got a little proboscis sort of dealy, and they burrow with that into your plant, and they just suck the moisture right out of your plant, like little moisture vampires right out of your plant. And I mean, these basil plants were healthy just a couple of days ago, and you'll see when I put the camera on them under the light, the one on the far end is actually more yellow than it is green now. So I'll show you what I'm talking about under the light. You'll get a better idea, and then we'll smash it with some safers, and then after that we'll do some transplanting. All right, so here's our basil. This one's the nicest one so far, but look at the color of that. I don't even know if the camera's picking it up right. Let's get that out of the way. See, look at the color on that, right? That's supposed to be like bright, vibrant green, and it's yellow with white patches. So I'm probably going to lose some of those leaves. And this one's the same, right? And then this one here, it's all just limp and sick too. So we need to knock out those spider mites as soon as we can. So when you have something like a spider mite infestation, don't expect it to just stick with one type of plant. And I've got lettuce right beside it. So I'm just looking here. I don't see any spider mites on that lettuce yet. I'm looking right now. That's kind of what I'm doing here, right next to the camera. I don't see any spider mites on them yet, but I am going to spray down that lettuce when all this is said and done here. So let's get this in the way. You know what we'll do? We'll just spin this right around. There, you can get it closer to the camera. So like I said, when you're dealing with something like this, you want to get the whole plant, top to bottom, side to side. So give it a shake. And you're just going to douse the plant. You want it dripping, right? So change your angles, come at it from different directions, get the top, right? Because these things, they're crafty, right? They find little nooks and crannies to hide in. And this is a contact pesticide, so it has to contact those little spider mites. So now, lift it up, right? And we're gonna get the bottoms under each leaf. Like I said before, come at it from all different directions. Don't spray yourself in the face. Because they procreate so damn quickly, if you don't get these under control, you will lose your plants faster than you can heal them. Because now, see how sick these plants are. We're going to do the lettuce too while we're at it. You see how sick the plants are, right? It's going to take a while for them to come back to health. We're probably going to lose some leaves, and they are definitely not going to like getting transplanted while they're sick, but we're doing it anyways. And so if you don't get the spider mites under control, by the time you think your plants are getting healthy again and they've had a bit of a chance to recharge, those spider mites have just had all kinds of offspring, and then you're right back to square one. So, hose down some of this lettuce. There. There. I hope they like swimming. All right. There's always something going on, eh? Always something. No fungus gnats yet, though. Okay. So now that we've just completely doused these things, all we're going to do is, I've got my pots right here below me, right? There. That's horrible lighting, isn't it? I don't know how I can get better light here. I gotta have some space to work. Well, you know what they say. Sometimes you just gotta work in the shade. Okay, so we're just gonna start with, I'm gonna do this end one first, because this plant is basically toast. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this end one first, and then that will give me room to move my way down to pop all the rest of these out. So all we're gonna do is, so I've got my little pots down here. You know what, I'll put the first one over here. So all we do is we're just gonna make a little space with our fingers. And you don't wanna bury the plant deeper than the top of the soil here, okay? So we're just gonna come underneath it, get your fingers, give it a little bit of a push, And then give the sides a little squeeze, right? And that's gonna loosen up the soil from sticking. Just gonna pull that out. There. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for good root development. See, that's gonna hold that little soil block together, right? So, and you don't want to transplant your plants until you know that you have good root development. But you don't want too much because you don't want it to get pot bound, right? Those roots will just start going round and round and round and round and round. And then even after you transplant them, right, they're not going to want to spread out because they've kind of developed the pattern of going around. So. Let's see here. You see how I've just planted it right to the soil level. Whoop. See? It's doing this through the camera lens. So that's the top of the plug, right at the soil level. Let's do the next one. I always like this part because, you know, once you're transplanting, that things are actually moving forward, right? Get the next little one in here. Cool. Moving our way through, right? Doesn't take long once you get going. Got number 3. Give a little squeeze on the sides. A little push up from the bottom. See, and they'll just generally just slide right out. Number 3. Let's go do 4. Here, we'll just swap places. We'll do the big one here. Nice healthy one. Last year I lost almost all of my dill. I lost peppers. I lost a bunch of stuff. I lost a whole bunch of seedlings. All of my cumin got eaten. Spider mites were so bad last year before I realized, and they caught me completely off guard. I never saw it coming. And by the time I realized that it was spider mites, the infestation was so bad that I ended up actually taking some of my plants and throwing them out in the snow in the backyard because I couldn't get rid of the infestation. It was that bad. So trust me, when you find spider mites or another infestation, you need to get on it right away. Look at your plants. If you notice yellowing or drooping leaves when you're like, you know, this shouldn't be like that. You know, I'm taking care of my plants. They should be relatively happy. If you're taking good care of them, you shouldn't have damage like that. So if you're starting to see weird things happening with your plants, get out there and take a real good look. See, I blasted off. For those of you who don't know, if you're not used to dealing with spider mites, what they'll do is, how to tell you have spider mites is you'll see almost like little super thin spider webs going from leaf to leaf and from leaf to stem, and then you'll see little tiny things on them. It almost looks like dust. But if you look really hard, okay, you'll see the little tiny spider mites. They're like the thousandth of an inch. They're tiny, tiny things. And that's how they fly under the radar, is because you don't see them. They don't fly around, right? You just, all of a sudden your plants will go from healthy to what is wrong with my plants. All right, there we go. Five basil plants, and I'm going to give them another shot of the Safers, just for good measure. I don't know if that little one on the end is going to pull through, to be honest. Okay, so we've got some Safers on them. I'm going to water this in a minute. I'm just not going to do it on camera, but you guys, I mean, I'm just watering. And I just thought you guys are going to want to know, I bought myself a present, and I generally don't buy stuff for myself. I generally spend my disposable cash I have on my kids, you know, but I bought myself something yesterday. It's coming tomorrow. I will be putting out a video tomorrow, and you don't want to miss it. Trust me. So I'm going to drop this now. I'm going to edit up this video and put it out. And then I've got other things that are coming, guys. We're going to transplant the lettuce. We've got peppers and tomatoes in there that are going to get transplanted into big pots. We've got this massive cucumber. Look at how long the vines are. Look at that. So if you guys watched the video just a couple of days ago when I put this trellis netting up, you'll know how much the cucumbers have grown in the meantime. So following projects, we've got to deal with these cucumbers, the lettuce, and then everything in that bin, we're going to transplant all of it. And then the special video for tomorrow that I'm going to be putting up. So stick around. If you're new here, you should definitely subscribe to the channel. Oh, and I'm going to be starting my weed seeds. Hopefully by the end of the weekend. It's Saturday today. I just need to go through my weed stock seeds. And what else is coming up? Oh, and I'm ordering seeds. I'm ordering onion seeds from Johnny's Seeds. Because I had a lot of problems finding seeds last year, and I grew a couple of varieties that I didn't want to. So I'm going to try out seeds from Johnny's this year. And we're going to be starting onions. So, all right, pay attention to that too. All right, guys, give me a big thumbs up. Really helps with the algorithm. And you know what I always say, grow good food. Bye, guys.